So today it is sunny, and I was really impressed with the footage that came off this SMO 4K camera and the Beta95X V3. The problem is, when I tested it, it was a really dull day, and to make sure that this product gets the complete thumbs up from me, it can't have jello from this camera when it is sunny. So I want to test that. I'm also going to try a bigger battery, so it's designed for a 450 milliamp 4S, and I'm going to try 650 milliamp 4S. Now Bruce was saying that his motors are getting really hot, and to be fair, that's quite normal for these micro quadcopters. You know, they are lifting a lot of weight for their size, and especially with these 5-blade props, a lot of them do run too hot to touch, especially on 4S as well. So really, you know, if you're talking about longevity, then you would have to see examples of these burning out, because like I say, I've got many micro quadcopters that run too hot to touch when it comes to the heat, but they still run fine. Alrighty, the sun is out, we have got some shadows, so if you are currently seeing a load of jello on the SMO 4K camera, then that's a fail. But if it is perfect and really nice and smooth like it was yesterday, then it's a win. So they do publish and sell an ND filter for this camera, but it's a camera that doesn't fare well when it comes to low light in the first place. So when I tested it originally, it was really dark inside, too dark to use without an ND filter, and outside it's getting a little bit of jello on some quadcopters, but you put the ND filter on, it does go away, but then the image is too dark to use. So let's see how it's affected the tune. Actually feels tighter, but what adding weight might do is cause a prop stall so that we get yaw washout. So I can test that. I'm going to go over here away from these people. What I'm going to do is stick it into a dive, and then we level out. There we go. It's just a little snap. So you actually can correct for that by just piling loads of throttle in, but I purposefully didn't do that, and there's not enough power there to level out. So if I do that again, yeah, the voltage scaling is still out. I need to fix that if you're wondering about the voltage scaling. Go into a dive this time, throttle. Oh, it's still doing it. So yeah, that's probably the weight of this battery, but it's very short flight time with the 450 milliamp battery, but it didn't do that. So that just shows you really with these cine whoops or whatever, if you're trying to do acro, it's all about power to weight. We can get some nice rolls out of it, but that snappy maneuver, I'd be very surprised if we could actually do anything about that. And quite a lot of voltage sag on this model as well. I think it's just a couple of points out on the scaling, so I think it's 16.1 and it should be 16.8, so it's almost a full volt actually, isn't it? So that's why it's looking a bit strange in there. So add a volt onto that, and it is going into the 13s, and where it's like 14.1, we're actually, you know, closer end to 15 with that. We got a bit more, slightly bit more noise with the heavier battery as well. Things having to work harder, you know, things getting strained more, it can cause more noise. But in general, I do really like the way this thing flies. I think they've probably got the battery size perfect for a sort of all-round cine whoop then. Because, you know, you go any bigger, then you start getting those little snaps. It's not too bad, but, you know, you need consistency with these things, especially when you're flying close to things, potentially expensive things, or people in buildings. You don't want them doing snaps like that. And I think a dive can be great when it comes to cinematography, you know, add something different, you know, something that you can't do with a DJI Mavic or a DJI FPV drone, should I say now as well. So yeah, maybe 550 milliamp might be good for this guy. And you know, the HD version's heavier than this one by 16 grams. It's actually heavier by the amount of this battery. So I wouldn't actually be surprised with a 450 milliamp 4S on the HD version that one's doing your washouts anyways. That's the one good thing about analog, is it does allow all of this to be lighter. Oh yeah, we're getting voltage sag. Crazy. Now what's our flight time here? So 4.5, nearly 5 minutes. I'll have to stick it down there, no more power. But yeah, there you go. That is how the Beta95X V3 performs for the 95X with a 650 milliamp 4S, and hopefully the footage looks good and there's no jello. But if it doesn't, then I'm afraid it's going to be a difficult one to recommend. Let's have a feel of the motors. Oh no, that is really interesting. Just lukewarm, not even hot at all. So Bruce, are you flying it inside? Have you got the HD version? Perhaps it's putting a bit more strain on there. This is just a stock tune that they gave. I would not be complaining about the heat from that at all. I'll put a link in the video description if you wish to get one, as well as a pinned comment. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.